Everyday greatness. Every day you have an opportunity to grab life and do whatever you want to do with it, right? And some people in your life have an impact on your life and they never even know it. Thank you for joining the show. Everyday Greatness, No Excuses presents the Ray Lewis Show. If this is your first time, buckle up. I promise you there's something that you're going to grab hold to. And if you're coming back for this message, the guy that I have on today does not know what he did for my career, right in the middle of it, right? I was trying to figure things out and I started doing all these routines, and me and my trainer, Monty Sanders, got into this one routine, and this thing came out in 2005-ish. And I'm like, what is this thing? And this thing was called P90X. And the brain behind that is the great Tony Horton. Thank you for joining me, my friend. My goodness, my goodness.
Mr. Ray Lewis, wow, what am I doing on your show, man? I mean, I was a tackling dummy in high school with a C- student, a speech impediment. But, the amazing thing about this show and you is, you're so inspirational and you really help and inspire people. And I'm just thrilled to be here and to kind of, we'll chat, we'll have some fun. And we'll talk a little bit about how I became a C- student and tackling dummy into a guy who created a product that sold 11 million copies and apparently helped you too. So good God, y'all. It's amazing.
T. Horton, listen, I'm going to jump right into it quickly. And we're going to jump on P90X, then we're going to get off it, seriously. Because I want to talk about all the other stuff you got going and the motivation, all this stuff, right? But 2005, right? I was right in the middle of my career. And interesting enough, me and my trainer was training. We was training almost 6-7 times a day. P90X came out. And one of the exercises that we took from the P90X is Ab Ripper X, right? And so that was always the morning and that was always at night. That was mandatory. And that's why your face is shaking, because the pain that you have to go through to endure that workout. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, I need to meet the guy who's doing this, who is coming up with this, man. So listen, I'm telling you, in the middle of my career, you made me go back you helped me realize that all of my energy, all of my power was coming from my core. So when I was picked by John Madden himself to be the first defensive player ever to be on the cover of Madden, the hit stick came out. So the hit stick came out because you don't know, because I made my abs so strong. I was just flicking people, man. And it was incredible how strong I felt, man. And so I had the P90X in my arsenal for about 2 years plus, every day faithfully, man. So Mr. Horton, thank you again. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Man, I love hearing that. It's so funny because, Rick Burkhalter, who used to be the former fitness director for the Eagles, called me one day and said, "Hey, man, half the team's using this stuff. They all want to meet you when you come out to Philly and work with them and stuff." So, that was really a trip. I went out and worked with them a bunch of times. And then, I was at dinner with Rick and Coach Reed one night. Now, of course, they were with the Chiefs, but, and then the owner and the coach of, I forget the hockey team out of Canada, but Canada saw us. And they came over and said, "Oh, the whole hockey team's using it." And then after a while you realize, oh, it's in the NBA, it's in the, it's in the NHL, it's in the NFL, it's everywhere. And look, when I created that thing, thank God I was with an organization that said, "Hey man, do your thing, do what works for you, top to bottom. Don't make it just weightlifting. Don't make it just, yoga or whatever. Take everything that and just pile it into this thing. And that's what works for you. That's what works for your private clients. And then leave it up to us to try to sell it." And, 11 million or so copies later around the world. The thing is, like you said, it was 2005. It's been a while and it still comes up all the time. It's just one of those iconic things that has had such an impact on so many people.
Yeah, absolutely. Why does pandemic, life has been crazy. Why is fitness more important now than it's ever been?
Well, man, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it kind of covers everything. Yeah. If you look at a lot of the science behind what physical activity does, regardless of whether it's like a hypertrophy thing or a cardio thing or yoga or whatever it is, there's chemicals that are released inside of your brain that change your perspective, your memory, your cognition, your attitude, your productivity, all of these things, norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, brain-derived neurotropic factor, all these things that just light up the brain. A lot of people want to use sources outside of themselves, right? They're cheating. They're using, and they're using, alcohol and drugs and excess food and the wrong kinds of food and things like that. When in reality, if you just, oxygenate your blood a little bit through some kind of movement for a half an hour or more, then you can really take on your day. You can really deal with this thing. And then, more science behind it is this virus for a lot of people, and it affects everybody in different ways, as we've seen. I mean, it's crazy. And some people have, rashes from it. Some people have, all kinds of massive headaches. But really the bulk of this is in the lungs. And you take the average person who's not exercising, they're only really using the upper half of your lungs. We have this huge capacity, lung capacity. That's because, we were designed to move. We were designed to be able to go from point A to point B quicker, faster, stronger. And so that requires the entire lung. But if you're not moving, the bottom half of your lungs, it's almost like the bottom of a lake where all that junk sits. And the coronavirus lives. And so I have tripled up my leg cardio days just purely because of that. I'm not a real cardio guy. I'm a ninja athlete now. I like to move weights around. I like pull-ups, push-ups, squats, and lunges. But I drag myself into the gym, man. I do my hour. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm going to get on the stationary bike and the treadmill and the heavy bag and the ski machine and the rower and the jump rope. I'm going to go round and round and round again. And I'm going to take those big old breaths and clean it out. And that's what more people need to be doing. So it really is. It covers a lot of areas, and it just gives you so many people. There's such a huge amount of folks that are just super depressed and really down and gaining weight. And, all you got to do is just find a good partner and a reason why, man, you can turn it around in a couple of weeks.
It's so crazy, my brother, because you speak about, the cardiovascular side. And that's what I kind of took on the hardest since this pandemic. I got into cycling, Tony, and now I get it. I'm totally addicted to it, right? The toxins that you actually get rid of. It's interesting because all of the things that's available, I guess one of the things that someone with your brain, right? Like how important is routine, right? Mind, body, and spiritually, right? So what is a Tony Horton routine looks like? And what is a healthy routine for people who's looking for a routine?
Well, even since P90X, X2, X3, 22-minute hardcore, I've created a new program called The Power of 4 by Tony Horton. And, the philosophy here is to create as much variety as you possibly can because you're trying to avoid the boredom, the plateaus, and the injuries that come from doing the same stuff over and over and over again. The reason why most people fail, boredom, injuries, and plateaus, right? Yeah. So you want to stay stimulated. You want to stay on that learning curve all the time. Hey, once something becomes pretty good, even X, then Tony Horton's got to send Ray Lewis the new one called Crunch Town. And then you could call me in a couple of months and we'll see how you manage with that thing. Because that's going to rock your damn world.
Crunch Town?
Crunch Town. That's right, man.
That sounds painful, but I'm with it.
So those are the reasons that stifle people. And, it's about purpose, plan, and accountability. I mean, that's been part of my life. I read about it in my book. My reason why at 62 years old is, I still want to stay vibrant. I still want to stay young. I still want to stay strong. I still want to be able to do the workouts that I do with guys half my age and still kick their ass. Not always, but I'm saying, like, I just want to be able to get after it in my age. Aging is for people who aren't willing to put the time and effort into slowing it down. You know what I mean? There's Absolutely. Your numerical age, there's your biological age. I feel stronger, better, more flexible. Maybe not as fast because whatever, I am 62. But in general, I feel much better than I did at 25, man. And so that's my purpose. I just want to feel good today. I want to stay young today. And I know all I have is today. The past is history. The future's a mystery, man. What do I got right now? Let's get after it. And then accountability. I need my tribe around. Hey, man, I know it's a pandemic. Put on your damn mask. Yep. We're going to separate. We're going to open up all the doors. A lot of the workouts going to be outside. I just, I need my guys around because I can look at them and go, how many reps was that? 30? I guess mine is 32. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that fun little camaraderie, Right. And then a plan. Write down what you're going to do in advance and then show up like any other important appointment in your life. Mondays is hour-long cardio at 5. Tuesdays is shoulders and arms. Wednesday is plyo because, that's a blast. What I mean? Got to do it, right? I'm a skier. I want my legs to be strong. Thursday's chest and back. Friday is typically another cardio session or maybe sometimes a day off. Saturday is yoga. And then Sunday is 4.5 hours in my backyard on the high bar, on the parallel bars, on the 15-foot rope, on the ninja course with my pals, man. I got it wired. Everybody knows. We all show up, and that's been going on for 20 plus years.
Lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's simple. It's simple. I'm telling you, we incorporated the same exact things. Nothing changed for me, right? I just changed what I entertain, right? I once entertaining, hitting people in the mouth a certain way. I was gentle about hitting people in the mouth, but now
I don't recall that happening that way, but okay. Okay.
But now I'm doing it in a different way. And so that's why I guess, me, I'm always evolving, right? I'm always looking for something different, looking for something else unique. Tony Horton always has something in the plans. What's the new thing that's in the plans that can take somebody like me or the everyday person to the next level? What's Tony working on?
Well, I was with Beachbody, the company that created all those programs. It was a phenomenal ride. They're an amazing organization. But like anything else, like players get traded. Some stuff comes up. Sometimes it's about the money. Sometimes it's about the contract.
Yeah.
It was a combination of things. You know what I mean? So I was allowed to kind of go on my own. It felt like it was time. It was a scary period for me because I was riding this really beautiful wave for a very long time that came to shore. So I had to put my big boy pants on and figure out how to do it by myself. So, there's been some fits and starts and whatnot, but, I created, I'm lucky. I'm working with a company called Tonal. I don't know if you're familiar with Tonal. It's just a phenomenal piece of hypertrophy equipment that attaches to the wall. I've done 5 workouts for them. I'm going to be doing 6 more next month, as soon as the COVID thing kind of normalizes here in Los Angeles. That's a blast. I got my own supplement line, which is really amazing, called Power Life. As a 62-year-old, I understand how hard it is, to kind of maintain and build muscle, right? So there's something called sarcopenia that happens to anybody as they get in their 50s, 60s, and 70s. And I created this amazing formula. It's got something called HMB with vitamin D, blah, blah, blah. I won't get into all the ingredients, but it's working like hell and it keeps me strong. So that keeps me fired up and that's doing really well. But when it comes to the fitness, I wanted to go directly to my fan base without having any distractions or filters through a big organization. So I created something called Power Nation. And we've already been through beta 1. I created about 13 different workouts, and it feels and looks similar to the other programs because I know that works. But it's a whole new plyo routine. Actually, there's 2 plyo routines. There's two chest and back routines. There's 2 shoulders and arms routines. I just wanted to give people even more variety, and I wanted to give them choice. Like, okay, you got that plyo routine, and that's a M-upper, right? That thing's a monster if you want to get after it today. But, Tony, I'm not really in the mood. Can you give me the 43-minute one? Okay, right? So I give you that option as well. The idea here is like I'm just trying to kill everybody's excuses. And the power of 4 is about food. It's about supplementation. It's about it's about mindfulness. And what the heck's the 4th one? Supplementation, food, mindfulness. I don't do it. I'm spacing out. That happens when you're 62. I should have written it down. But I'm sure halfway through the interview, I'll figure it out. But, the thing is, the reason why I created that is because before it was just before and after pictures and all about the aesthetics. You know what I mean? Like I want to look a certain way in 60, 90 days. And to me, that's just, I don't know, that doesn't hold as much value. It doesn't keep me going. It kind of destroys my consistency. And that happened with other people as well. So, the mindfulness component is really, really important. And that's something, especially now during COVID and all the insanity that's going on in this country. I mean, it's completely crazy. And people's, their adrenal glands are shortening and their telomeres are shortening and these types of things, these stress levels for people are really way out of control. So, the pendulum needs to swing in both directions. Like, back in the day, you used to hit people in the mouth. Now, you've kind of taken on a spiritual tone, which is, understanding the importance of shifting and changing and transforming. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely, man. It's interesting because we are in a tough time and we are going through a tough time, but for whatever reason, and we know this, right? It can be cliches or not, but tough times never last. Right. So we always find a way out of them. Right. But there was a tough time that you went through in your life. It was kind of shocking. And I think a lot of people are going through something now. But I want you to tie the 2 in together, Ramsay Hunt syndrome. And in the midst of that, you found something called the simple things. Why did you correlate? Yeah. Tell me about the syndrome and then tell me why you, in the midst of that, you found that the simple things meant everything.
Well, it was kind of like the frog in the frying pan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You heat up nice and slowly. You have no idea how much stress you're under, and that was happening to me. When that shooting in Vegas happened, the next day, a friend and a client, somebody I've been training for 32 years, Tom Petty, passes away, and I was going through some contractual stuff with Beachbody that were super stressful, and I think the combination of those three things in the course of just a couple of days, I'm sure my cortisol levels were through the roof, and the adrenal glands were fried. And what happens is, I had chickenpox as a kid. If you've had chickenpox, the virus, the shingles virus, is just sitting in there dormant, and it just hit me, man. And there's 1 in 100,000 people who get shingles get it in their ear, and it's the last place. The fifth, seventh, and eighth facial nerves get fried, and that goes straight into your brain. So sight, taste, smell, balance, everything goes south. And for several months, all I wanted to do was just sleep, weep, and vomit. I mean, it was so hard. I couldn't train. I lost 25 pounds. I couldn't drive. I couldn't, I can barely get up and down the stairs.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it was a really, really tough time. So I did a bunch of research. It's the reason why I developed Power Life, my supplement line, because there were some things and ingredients there that help with. There's one product called Foundation 4. I didn't realize it, but I had leaky gut, so I had Epstein-Barr too. I mean, I was a wreck, Lou.
Wow.
I was bad shape. But you know what I mean? I had the foundation of what it required. A lot of people who get what I get are permanently disabled. I had facial paralysis there for a while. Some people have that permanently, and that balance thing goes completely south. And so, when you can't, I looked like a drunken sailor on a cruise ship in a hurricane. You know what I mean? I was in trouble. When people walk me like, "Whoa, dude, what's wrong with you?" But with a lot of work and time and effort and working on balance and doing a ton of yoga and getting on my slack lines and just pushing the edge of the envelope, I've been able to come around. I'm not 100%. Here it is 3 years later. But I did learn, to the second half of what you're saying, I learned how to slow down. I mean, I used to meditate once in a while. You know what I mean? My wife is a very strong Christian, so it's great to have her in the house and her Christian values. You know what I mean? I like more tangible things that I can kind of affect, that I know I can affect. And meditation, I do it 2 or 3 times a day. I still have something called bilateral vestibular hypofunction, which is a form of vertigo. Vertigo is sort of this circular thing. Mine feels like this little kind of Parkinson's thing inside of my head. It's actually a form of PTSD, according to my physical therapist. But, my progress has been really supernatural, purely based on my work ethic, my ability to slow down, being super clean with my diet and not sweating the small stuff anymore, man. That's really been a big deal for me. And that's
because you've been a vegan. What? How many years you've been a vegan now?
No, I'm not vegan anymore. And that was part of my original problem. You know what I mean?
Tell me. That's really interesting. Tell me.
Well, it wasn't like veganism caused this, but to be, the first time I was a vegan, it was like all chips and crackers. You know what I mean? Like, kale, what's that for? Rabbits? I'm not going to eat kale. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't eating enough vegetables, man. Right? It's like, okay, I get a package. Like, everything I ate was out of a bottled box, can, or bag. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't forget about the outside of the grocery store where all the healthy food is. I was a bachelor at the time. You know what I mean? So I was a pretty lame vegan. And then even when I was a decent vegan and I had food delivered, and Shauna, my wife, who's amazing, was cooking meals, I just wasn't getting enough calories. You know what I mean? Right. And here I am pushing the envelope every day with my workouts because, the one thing about animal protein, bang, it's a slam of some pretty heavy duty,
That's facts.
Yeah. Right. So now I'm a plant-based guy. I eat a lot of vegan meals. I eat a lot of paleo meals. I eat a lot of Italian meals, a lot of French meals and Mexican meals, and I eat food. But I look down at my plate and I go, I wonder if my great-great-great-grandmother would recognize any of this. And if the answer is yes, I continue to eat it. You know what I mean? It ain't Doritos and a Red Bull. Okay. So, because she would go, what in the hell are you eating? You know what I mean? So now that's it. I just eat plant-based. I eat whole foods, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. No wheat, no soy, no corn, no dairy for me anymore. Wheat, soy, corn, and dairy. That I did an extensive blood work. And for a while, for about 4 or 5 months, no tomatoes, no sesame seeds, no cashews, no spinach. I mean, there was a bunch of things to clear up my leaky gut. And then once that cleared up, I was able to introduce more foods. So, yeah, I mean, now I don't have that restriction. It's like, I'm in the airport and all there are nuts.
Right.
I mean, so I'm on a 5-hour airplane starving to death because there's nothing to eat. And I'm not doing that anymore, man. So, I mean, I've found that middle ground that gives me the energy that keeps my inflammation down, and I feel awesome right now. So
that is, listen, when I say funny, because I've been living a pescatarian life for many years, and so I don't eat meat, whatever. And you're sitting on the plane, and you're like, why didn't I grab something to eat? Like, I'm sitting on here eating walnuts and and almonds, and the lady is wondering why I'm asking for a large water. I need the whole jug. Do not give me the little bottle. Give me the whole jug. Tony,
I'll tell you,
I promise you.
the few times I was smart enough to get a good meal, I have home delivery meals, so I could just take it out of the air container, stick it in mine, and then it's like, and then they're going around, hey, would you like the chuck steak or the mac and cheese? You know what? I got my own. All right, and then I'll open that thing up, and typically the guy or gal next to me will go, damn, why didn't I think of that? You know what I mean? I go, well, next time you'll get it right.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Look, so the routine that you have, the routine that I have, it's a really interesting thing, right? Because it takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of writing it down, right? It takes a lot of encouragement, right? All the things that you're talking about. 2021 has been introduced, and our world is still in turmoil, right? If we had 3 solutions that you believe could help us as people get better physically, get better mentally, and get better emotionally, understanding all 3 aspects of the human being is the most important thing in life. And I'm telling you, this is why I train the way I train. This is why I was on my bike today. It was why since 14 years old, now I'm 45 and I'm riding a bike at the end of the day, and I'm looking at this sunset, and I'm like, at 14, when I was broke and had absolutely nothing, I promised that I was going to start a routine. That routine was reciting our Father's Prayer every day of my life until I came out of my situation. I'm still reciting our Father's Prayer. And some of my prayers has been, Father, give me the courage to find the right people to help our world heal, and give them a routine, give them something, right? That people who's been through something. Right? Because it's hard for people to follow people who ain't never been through nothing. Yeah. Right? It's hard for me to trust somebody or somebody to tell me, I know what's best for your life, but you ain't never been through nothing. Right? But it's people like you, T, that I'm telling you, in the midst of my career, helped me go to the next level. And now it's like, what do we do for our people? For Tony Horton, what can our people do to be better human beings every day?
Well, Matt, you might be surprised by my answer.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at my books back there, a lot of that's personal development, you know what I mean? A couple of rock climbing books and whatnot. But that's how I started. I was stuck in every possible way as a young man. I didn't get that guidance. My father was on the road 5 days a week, and my mother raised myself and my 2 sisters. I had pretty good buddies, but the reading, writing, and arithmetic didn't quite do it. And so, when I first started with that, it was really about kind of these 3 things, and this off the top of my head. It's all about the love, man. I mean, where do you find love for yourself, love for the people in your family? You know what I mean? I think patience is another thing that's really, really important. I think sometimes we just sort of jump the gun and we react before we should. You know what I mean? That's something that's been handed down from my grandfather and my father. It's in the DNA, right? So that's something I have to work on. That's where the meditation comes in. And civility generally, is something that's lost in our society, just sort of, kicking back and being thoughtful and kind and loving, you know what I mean? And because that, if you're constantly in a state of angst and anger and impatience, then there's no room for growth. There's no room for transformation. There's no room for your body to relax and to calm down so that you can kind of, begin to transform yourself and get to the next level. You know what I mean? So, yeah, look at that right there on the screen already. You guys are good, man. Love, patience, and civility. I read a whole book on it and about civility. You know what I mean? It's just. And by the way, here's the amazing thing, and people don't realize that. Exercise as much as anything, it releases the norepinephrine, dopamine, serotonin, all these neurotransmitters right inside the temporal lobe. But that's what love and patience and civility does. I was watching the nightly news, and there was a woman in line in Texas, and she was there. She was in a food line in her car with hundreds and hundreds of other cars in front of her and behind her, and they were interviewing her, and she was in tears. And they said, why are you here today? She said, well, I'm getting food for my husband and wife, but I'm also here getting this for a family of 5 where they're all starving. These are middle-class folks that have lost their job, and their 5 children are starving. And I paused it. I called my friend Scott Pfeiffer, who runs the Go campaign, and Scott was a lawyer and a screenwriter. He went out to Tanzania, and he was working at an orphanage there for a working vacation. And he said, he came back and goes, I'm not going to be a lawyer anymore. I'm not going to be a screenwriter. I'm going to help orphans around the world. So he started in Africa, solely in Africa. And now he works from Tanzania to Tennessee. And there was a family in south side of Chicago that there were these young girls braiding their hair. I'm going to start weeping, dude. I'm sorry. I might get sorry, but there were the young girls in this house, and they got shot up, and a couple of these girls passed away. One girl got a couple of bullets in her leg. And these kids, they're just these young kids on the south side, and they don't have enough food. They don't have enough clothing. They're all looking at one crappy old computer do work. And I called up Scott. I wrote him. I just said, take care of that family and take care of 5 more. And man, like yesterday, the UPS guy was up, and he saw my gym. He was just dropping stuff off. Not the UPS, the Amazon guy. And he goes, oh my God, I'd give anything to have that weight set. And I said, well, you look like are you in shape? He goes, no, man, I got to fit. I go, you know what P90X is? He said, yeah. Hold on, dude. Ran upstairs, signed one, gave him the book. And he goes, hey, that's you. I go, yeah, I'm a little bit older with the beard, the beanie, and the hair, but I'm the same guy, man. So and you just get fired up about helping people, man. It's such an awesome feeling. And then, there's a local cop up in Chicago that kind of works with this one gal, police officer there that works with this family and looking out for him. So she took care of this whole thing for him. And I have a scheduled phone call with them next week, man. So I can't wait. And that's what it's about, man. Yeah. That's what you're about. That's what I'm about. Yeah. Let's go kick some ass and take names and lift weights and run our asses off and get strong and stay strong. Cause I want to be able to, rock and roll in my 70s and 80s. I look at a lot of my peers, friends from high school, and I go, did we go to high school together, or are you somebody's grandfather? Damn.
Dude, I promised myself, man. I promised myself the exact lifestyle that you're preaching and you're living. I promised myself to be the example, man. Like we owe that. That's a duty now, right? When you're someone that's brave enough to take the risk that we took, then it's your duty now, right? And in this world now, helping people, loving people has to become the duty, right? I get it. Put on the mask. Put on the damn mask.
Put on the mask. What is wrong? Get a really bitchin' one. There's some cool. Make it a stylish thing.
Make it nice. Make it.
You know what I mean? Just doesn't have to be this thing. Doesn't have to be this thing. It could be something nice. You know what I mean? Look. Here, hold on. Look at it. So you know what I mean? So I got a couple of dogs. There's Teddy. Look at that little guy, man. That's a mask right there. Look at that, man. 1966 Charlie mask right there. Look at that little guy. Look at that little dude, man.
You put your dogs on your mask?
Dogs on my mask, right? So, tie-dye with the dogs. Get creative and don't be such a bonehead about it. Come on already.
Get creative. Hey, man, listen. You are you're absolutely amazing. I need to figure out how to get some of this Power Life program that you got going on.
I know a guy. And that guy's going to send you the mega box, the huge box. And one thing before I forget, let Phil Sims know that I'm going to kick his ass in a pull-up contest just whenever it's time. All right.
Listen, I will deliver that message the next time. I will deliver that message. Okay. And I will call you to get your number. I may need you to send a video challenging Phil Sims, and we'll put it on the screen the next time I'm on set.
I'll get up there and knock out 30 clean ones, and then he can do what he has to do to try to keep up with the old man, But yeah, Power Life, I got you covered. We're gonna definitely get you. We'll give you whey. You want whey or plant-based? I got both. I'll send you.
I like plant.
I'll send you plant, chocolate, vanilla. I'll send you the Foundation 4. There's a pre-workout called Performance Man that doesn't, you don't look like a crack addict halfway through your workout. It's really good, man. It's sustained energy. It's the bomb, and another product called Endurance. So they're all coming your way. We'll take care.
I'm in. I'm in. I can't wait to try it. My friend, we will be in touch. Many blessings to you, man. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm telling you, T, like, this is really big, man, because I've always been appreciative to people who didn't know that they changed my life, you know, and you were a big part of that. I still live it to this day, man, that Ab Ripper X, but I'm ready to try this Crunch City.
Crunch Town.
Crunch Town.
Yeah, Crunch
Forget
Town.
city. Forget
Crunch
city. We're talking about towns.
Yeah, yeah. You can do it. You can do Crunch Town in any city, so you'll be covered.
The great Tony Horton, I appreciate you for joining the show, my friend. God bless you, man. We will be in touch, and I'll be waiting for my packages because I can't wait to start.
Yeah, man, right on. It's a pleasure today, dude. What a blast hanging with you. And I'm gonna tell this story about 45 times in the next 3 hours. So if you don't mind, thank you.
Be good, man. Wow. You know what? I tell you what, it's everyday life, right? That when you talk about checking in with your everyday life and you run into people who inspired you, that they will never know what you've done for them, right? It's like what nurses and firemen and all of these people and people in the military who you never know that works for you, that builds things that'll change your life. And I'm telling you, for what P90X done for me and what the structure of it done for me and my excitement to even try his new product, it's this thing about it, right? It's the challenge of, I knew trying a lot of his workouts, incorporating everything I knew trying them, I knew I was going to fail. But that's what the beauty of it was. I wanted to fail. I wanted to feel the limit where I could go no more. And I'm back to that same point. I'm challenging you. Don't create these New Year's resolutions in 2021. Make it a lifestyle. And everything that you just heard Mr. Horton speak about was routine, was finding a structure, was going through something. Sometimes we got to go through something to find our best self. I'm gonna give you a couple of thoughts of the day. I'm gonna be really quick today because I want you to meditate on these thoughts. The power of structure and routine. The power of structure and routine. You're talking about one of the greatest platforms ever put out when you talk about the P90X and what Tony Horton done. But I can promise you this. I started something at 10 years old, which was push-ups and sit-ups. And I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the strongest. But I can tell you this, the power of my structure and my routine was the reason that gave me my confidence. Now watch this, because of the chaos and confusion can be eliminated. Watch this, by your structure and daily routine. Because of what I created in pushing myself to a limit to feel a pain in my stomach and want to quit at 10 until I heard my mother sniffle after just being beaten. There are no breaks. I want you to understand where we are in life. The secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. You find me a person with a daily routine, I can tell you their success rate. And 90% of the time, it won't be just to make money. They will change lives. Listen to me. Structure helps you save mental energy. We're giving so much energy away to people from a dopamine level. What we're planting in the subconscious mind, we're destroying what the future has available for us. Because our structure, it ain't that we're doing so much wrong. We just got so sloppy with time and what it means. Your happiness, fitness, and success depend on the routine you put in place. That's why the good book says, write the vision and make it plain. That's why every person who's been successful in anything, you can go pull up their routine right now. And I said this one time before. Bruce Lee said a famous quote. I love quoting this quote. He said, I fear not the man that practiced over 10,000 kicks one time. He says, I actually fear the man that practiced one kick 10,000 times, because he's dealing with a master. He's dealing with somebody who understood that my routine dictates who I hang out with. My routine dictates what I put in my belly. My routine dictates what I let my ears hear. My routine dictates what I let my kids see. When you create a routine that's built from love, commitment, civility, humility, is when your life really starts to change. The only reason, regardless of your religion, the only reason that we can go back 400 and 500 years is because David and Solomon was bold enough to write it. David, in the midst of his pain, in the midst of his worry, he encouraged himself to keep writing. But if you read Psalms enough, you'll understand that he was in turmoil most of his life. And God said that he was a man after his own heart. So his routine, Solomon couldn't have anything in the world, but Solomon asked for wisdom. Think about living life every day. And it ain't about being successful. It's actually about changing a life. Every day of your life. Everybody's life that you speak into, and they change their way, we win as a people. All of the ugliness and all of the confusion that's going on, and I guarantee you, with all of the confusion, if you trade it all in and replace it with love, hope, peace, joy, foundation, renewing, humility, compassion, understanding of who we are. It's why I love doing what I do, because I meet really interesting people and I take small nuggets from them. And I realize that a lot of us are going through things, but I want to make sure this is simple. Let's round up by simply saying this. Do not go to bed without taking a good look at your daily routine. Do not let another night go to bed where the last thing you see is that blue light on your phone. Put a pen in your hand. Put it to paper. Write whatever vision you want it to happen and make it as plain as A, B, and C. But don't go to bed no more in 2021 without writing out your visions. Because if you do, you give your dreams to a person that already wants to diminish your dreams, which is worry, doubt, fear, chaos, confusion. There's a lot of them. But when you tell them you're spending time with sunsets, joy, peace, love, and health, and wellness, we have a duty. The takeaways Tony Horton gave me today, and I learn something every time I speak to people, because he'll never realize the impact, because he wasn't there when I had to endure 9 surgeries. He just was intentional about putting out a product and say, if you're brave enough to try this. Every time I saw it, every time I tried to add Ripper X, I thought about what it'll look like when I get ready to do the second set that evening. Love is the only way. Love is the only way. Patience. You have to sleep with patience. Patience can't be something that you just rush. It took Job many years to understand his patience. And it's going to take us many years to understand where we are in this country to understand the patience that our kids are needing. I'm asking you to not let 2021 start and not do nothing different. I'm asking you to be the difference. Change your life right now. Whatever road you're going down, whatever path you've chosen, that ain't a path that helps another person. Change it. Listen to the situations that Tony was explaining about, just hearing somebody struggle. That same story happened to me in Africa. I saw some kids drinking water, had a bottle of water, and the bottle of water got back down to this much. And I watched 7 kids. And I saw them run over there, and I threw the water down. And I saw them run over to the water. And there were 7 of them. And I saw each one of those kids in Tanzania grab water. And each one of them took a sip just to wet their tongue. The oldest was 12, 9, 7, 5, and 3. Both of their parents was dead. So they was living on the streets. I then made a move to put 4 water wells in Tanzania that day. Forget the price. I just don't want to see a 70-year-old grandmother walking with 2 babies on the side of her head, a rice bowl on the top, and 2 jugs of water, 12 miles a day, every day. Everybody has these stories of what sparks them. Today, something else was sparked inside of me. Can you do more? Will you do more? And will you be the difference? It's everyday greatness. It's grabbing a hold of life and never letting sometimes the greatest pain you'll ever feel. Sometimes don't let it go, because sometimes when you let it go, it comes right back. But when you hold on to it, you understand that 2021 is all about perspective. The way you see yourself is the way you treat yourself. And the way you treat yourself, I guarantee, is the way you treat others. It works no other way. God bless you. Thank you for joining Everyday Greatness. You know the rule. There are no excuses in life not to change one life a day. Always thank my team. If you just joined in and you learned something, I need you to tweet me and tell me what's going on. And I need you to tell me what's going on in your emotions, because right now I done worked out. I was not supposed to go work out, but God darn it, I just got through talking to Tony Horton, and I'm going back in the weight room right now because I want to try this Ab Ripper X, and I need to try Crunch Town. He said it ain't city. He said it's Crunch Town, baby. So I got to go back in the weight room. No excuses. Goodbye. I'm out.